How's it going, Fortnite fam? The Season 8 finals of the FNCS just wrapped up. We saw trios defy their limits, set new records, and hold the Axe of Champions high in the sky. Who won at the end of the weekend after a close 2-day race? What were the stories of the champions and the fan favorites that made their dreams a reality? Stick around and listen to a recap of the finals of this FNCS from all 7 regions across the world. Middle East was a battle all the way towards the very end in Season 8's finals of the FNCS. It was a duel of fates, a clashing of 2 swords, a joust between 2 teams all the way until the very last game on day 2. The winners of the war were Phantom, Kai, and Abu Falha, coming first place overall. In second place, it was Helen, Cal, and Murloc, behind by just 4 points after the last game. On the first day, both teams pulled ahead of the rest of the region by about 50 points, but Phantom's team had so many double-digit Elim games, as well as 2 victory royales, so they held that first place spot for just a little. On the second day though, Helon, Cal, and Murloc really started to come back with a few top 10s, as well as VRs, and Phantom, Kai, and Abu Falha started to teeter off. All the way in the last game where they actually went down first, Cal, Murloc, and Helon had a chance to win, had high ground, but unfortunately lost it towards the very end, and with just a difference of 4 points, Abu Falha, Kai, and Phantom held on and were your FNCS champions.
Over in OCE, it was a close race to the finish line for our champions, Spiker, Fab, and Chemo, who barely came out on top with just a 3-point difference over second place. But just how did they get there? Day 1 started off relatively rough for Spiker and his team, with Game 2 being their best performance with only a 5th place finish and 7 eliminations. They were able to grab a handful of elims in the subsequent games, but after ending the day in 7th place, they would need to change up their game plan for the final day if they wanted to walk away with the Axe of Champions. Day 2 rolled around, and after the first game, it looked like they were going to have a repeat performance from the previous day. That was until the very next game. They may not have grabbed the VR, but with a 2nd place finish and 9 eliminations, the snowball began to roll. In the final 3 games, Spiker, Fab, and Chemo were able to accumulate 31 eliminations, totaling up to an incredible 77 elims, almost 20 more than any other team in the lobby. Vortex's team was hot on their trail and even grabbed the final victory royale of the tournament, but when all was said and done, Spiker, Fab, and Chemo, with their incredible aggression, would claim their spot on the winner's seat and be this season's FNCS champs.
混戦を極めたアジア地区を制したのはスウィージー、ゾタックス、シャモンキーのトリオ。デイ1では188ポイント、42エリミネーションとそのポテンシャルを見せつけ他を圧倒しました。キャティコーナーをランドマークとする彼らは近寄る敵を徹底的に排除し独占。圧倒的かつ獰猛な攻撃を見せつけ他のチームを圧倒していきます。インゲームリーダーゾタックスの戦略、スウィージー、シャモンキーの圧倒的な戦闘力が爆発したゲーム5。ハイグラウンドの有利なポジショニングを保持。最終盤で怒涛の攻めを見せた彼らは16エリミネーションでビクトリーロイヤルを獲得。その強さを知らしめました。デイ2でもその戦略と攻撃性は健在。洗練された立ち回りで安定したスコアを獲得し、ゲーム12ではその集大成を見せつけます。当然のようにハイグラウンドを占拠した彼らはローグラウンドの敵を一方的に攻撃。スイージーがハイグラウンドを維持。ゾタックス、シャモンキーが怒涛の攻めを仕掛け見事ビクトリーロイヤルを獲得。
EU was won by Kami Setiotik, a team who's been dominant force throughout all of the FNCSs in 2021. They are living proof that if you stick together and put in the work, you can become champions. After placing 6th in Chapter 2 Season 5, their Season 6 didn't go their way. They ended up missing out in qualification for the finals by 1 threshold in 2 of the qualifiers, in their heat in the semis, and in the reboot round as well. Probably the biggest upset of the season, them not making finals. After placing 4th in Season 7, they were back with a vengeance in Season 8. Their Day 1 performance rivaled some of the best 6 games of Fortnite I've ever seen, with their worst placement in these games being 7th, and with every single one gaining at least 20 points. They ended the first day 64 points ahead of 2nd place, which is equivalent to a 17 elimination victory royale. And their dominance didn't stop there on day number 1. Day 2 they could not be caught up to. Aqua CRR and Fistroki were hot in their tails, but anytime they made it that deep into endgame, they were met by Kami, Seti, and Teak also gaining so many points. When the dust settled and the final results were clear, Cami, Seti and Teak ended up 92 points ahead of second place. Hands down, the most dominant performance in FNCS history.
Pela primeira vez na região do Brasil, um trio se torna bicampeão da FNCS. Essa foi a temporada mais disputada que já tivemos, onde apenas um ponto decidiu a conquista de Opai, PHzinho e GSX, que renovaram suas picaretas de campeões. No primeiro dia da grande final, esse trio, liderado por Opai, teve um desempenho excelente. Já o segundo dia foi cheio de emoções. Eles ganharam a segunda partida, mas pontuaram muito pouco nos jogos seguintes. Na quinta partida, a diferença para o segundo colocado era de apenas 10 pontos. O trio chegou à metade da última partida sem eliminações e foram surpreendidos com a eliminação precoce de Opai e GSX. PHzinho teve que fazer o impossível para continuar no jogo, contando inclusive com a ajuda do Cubo Azul. Logo antes da sua eliminação, o trio que estava em segundo lugar também tinha sido eliminado, o que deixou tudo mais emocionante ainda. Com o top 2 em pontos fora da partida, ainda poderíamos ter uma surpresa. No fim, no placar cumulativo, Opai, PHzinho e GSX somaram 313 pontos, seguidos por Patati, History e Kitos com 312 pontos e Cadu, Seyun e Ed em terceiro com 307 pontos. Parabéns aos bicampeões da FNCS!
The great change happened during NA East FNCS Season 8. The established trios, they jumped ship and created new powerhouse teams. This set up a clash of titans during the NA East FNCS Finals. The World Cup champion, Vuga, the two-time champ, Miro, and back-to-back OCE winner, Muzz joined forces. The trio held an unprecedented combination of game knowledge, mechanical skill, and veteran presence. Day 1 proved that the super team was more than just a title. Game after game, the trio pushed into the final zone. No solo plays, just beautifully executed teamwork. For a team that came together at the beginning of the season, their chemistry shone. On day 2, Miro, Muzz, Vuga continued their hot streak early on in the day, and the lead they built was insurmountable. Vuga claimed his first FNCS title and added another chapter in his legendary story. Miro and Muzz brought home their third FNCS. The super team fairy tale is now cemented in history.
Saving the West for last, Arkram, Rex, and Epic Whale have
Whoa,
done
whoa, Kelly. We actually have new champions here on NA West, and it was my personal prediction in Reet, Favs, and Snacky taking home the title of FNCS champions. In the qualifiers, Reet, Favs, and Snacky seemed to focus their energy on fighting instead of qualifying. This gave the new trio the opportunity to practice fighting together before the finals weekend. Once the finals hit, the team hit the ground running in day number 1 with incredible consistency from the start. On top of this, Arkham Rex and Epic Whale had their first 0-point game as a trio. This created a gap of 82 points in these teams after day number 1. Day 2 hits, however, and it's a totally different performance from Arkham Rex and Epic Whale. They go on to win 3 games in day 2. However, the consistency didn't stop from Reet, Favs, and Snacky as they continued their tear through the region with a VR and 2 second-place finishes. It came down to the final game, but ultimately Reet, Favs, and Snacky held down the top spot and dethroned the kings of NA West. With these incredible players now crowned champions, we can't wait to see what they accomplish next in the Grand Royale. Until next time, we'll see you on the Battle Bus. Beep, beep.